All right guys, I'm gonna take you along with me for a full strength and hypertrophy style session for jiu-jitsu. I'll give you the template now and I'll talk to you after the different exercises, etc. But what you might see in this is it differs a lot to maybe a typical bodybuilding split. At the start, we're still doing some form of velocity power style movement. We're using what would be typically considered as a power movement as one of our hypertrophy style exercises, and then moving through. Obviously this isn't the only template you can use, different exercises, lots of other things you can do, but just to give you a quick rundown, we're going to do like an extensive jump plyometric circuit just as part of the warm-up. We touch a little bit of that quick run contact time and some of the ballistic actions. Then we're going to use the snatch high pull from the blocks, but we're going to do it for slightly higher reps, so that counts as our upper back training. Well, it's full body exercise anyway, but we're going to use that as kind of like our pseudo power hypertrophy style exercise. And then we're into our lower body, heavier squats and a press. And then we might finish with the carry, we'll see, but typically that's how it would look. So if you want programs, hey Mia, similar to that, make sure you check out the Sweet Style Fighting Underground. Also, down in the description, you get the Jiu-Jitsu Strength and Conditioning Blueprint. It's free, check it out. As you can see, simple circuit, smooth, rhythmic, not maximal, a little bit of work capacity effect on top of it. So typically, anywhere from 1 to 4 sets. I'm just doing 1 today, and then moving on. So there's a couple of different ways you can do these snatch high pulls. You can do them coming onto your toes, so getting that full extension, or you can do it flat-footed, which just places more stress on the upper back and the upper body to do the work. I'll show you the flat-footed one first. You can't really see my feet anyway in this video, but I'll move it for the other ones. But regardless, I'll show you the movement. I've done videos on this exercise earlier on the channel, so you can also check that out. Also, if you can't do this exercise for whatever reason, too technical, whatever, there's other derivatives you can use. For example, like a hang jump shrug, which is just holding the bar, coming down, and then jumping. That's a very easy variation. Trap bar jumps, barbell jumps, dumbbell jumps. These are all things you can use as a substitute for something like this. I just really like this because you can target the upper back and you get that muscle building effect there with an exercise like this. So I'll show you this. The party is going down. So you gotta be on top. We also have Odin crying in the background here. But that was the no feet or no extension variation. You can give that a go. Let's see if I can show you the other one. So importantly, when you're doing these derivatives just generally, use straps because you don't want to be limited by your grip, especially as it gets heavier. Depending on the type of bar you're using, you can start to rip calluses and things like that. Use your straps for these. You can train your grip other ways. For the hypertrophy style purposes, I do sets of 5. 5 is, to me, like the upper limit and something you want to do with these to be able to get the most out of them and to get good quality. So I'll do 3 sets of 5 reps will be typically in that. If we're going more for strength power, I'll drop it down to 2 to 3 typically. So you'll feel this. If you haven't done much of this and you do this, the next morning your traps will be on fire. That's the first part of the session done. We covered some of the basic low-level plyometric jump stuff. We've done a power-based movement, but more for hypertrophy. Now onto our main lower body movement. So we're gonna do one main lower body, one main upper body push. I'll give you some options when we get there. And then kind of optional stuff at the end, depending on time and things like that. But something that I've been doing lately a lot is using the safety bar. If you have one of these in your gym, epic. If you're a combat athlete, beat up shoulders, wrists, elbows, etc. None of that comes into play. You also have more variation where you can use the rack as like a hand support if you wanted to do other things. Now regarding strength and hypertrophy for combat sports, including jiu-jitsu, I'm not such a fan of doing pure hypertrophy work for the lower body. So all through my career coaching, I would never do higher rep squats, lunges, etc. I would never program it for my athletes just because the volume and the time to recover from it, it's hard. And if you're doing a lot of technical training, you're going to be sore for 2-3 days afterwards. It's not going to be good for the things you need to do on the mats. So I typically keep lower body work strength based. Now, if you are very green to strength training, then ignore that advice. Then you might be doing 6 to 10 rep squats, and then you might be doing some walking lunges as an example, because everything you do is going to help you become a better athlete, produce more force, be faster, etc. But if you have some lifting under your belt, I would err on the side of having lower volume for your lower body and training it more for strength. So something I've been playing around with lately that I quite like is doing kind of like an eccentric overload with a safety bar. So no hands on the way down, controlling it, and then using my hands on the way up. So that way I'm able to load relatively heavy and then get up pretty easy. Now you don't have to do this particular exercise. You could do like a split squat, hand support, split squat, step ups, any kind of lower body exercise will get the job done. So I'm gonna get warmed up and I'll show you some of my working sets. That was tough. So I ended up doing sets of 5, just 3 sets. Typically I'll do sets of 3, but today since we're looking for that fraction, little more volume, we went with 5s. Now, if you were greener to strength training, you should follow this with 1 or 2 sets of walking lunges, 10 to 20 reps per leg, and you'll be off to the races for lower body. Now I'm gonna do my upper body. Very simple. Probably just gonna do press. Since I'm lazy, I don't want to set up the bench. And then superset that with inverted rows. Very simple, knock out 2 things at once. I've kind of already trained my back with those high pulls, but a little bit more pulling, nothing wrong with that. Just means that I won't do carries at the end. I might just do some really basic ab stuff. So after you've done the main work, you can really play around with what you want to do. So it could be neck, abs, grip stuff, could be carries, which kind of covers most of those except neck. Could even be basic mobility stuff. Sometimes depending on what you're trying to achieve, you can finish with fast. So doing some kind of jump or plyometric, even though you're fatigued. Obviously, if you're going through a strength hypertrophy block, your number one priority is probably gain mass. So you don't have to do that. You can also, if you're very low on time, as I typically am with 2 kids in the house, you can finish with some cardio stuff. So sprint intervals at the end of a session give you another way to finish, take you 5-10 minutes, and then you get your conditioning done as well. Is it ideal? Maybe not, but it's better than not getting it done at all. So I'll set up and I'll show you what I'm doing for the upper body superset. So I've had a little bit of a niggly shoulder, but I'm going to show you this to show you the concept regardless. So I'm gonna do 1 set of 3, which will be relatively heavy, just not max. And then drop down and do 2 to 3 sets of about 6 to 8. And call this a billion different things, but over warm-up set is a really good term. So essentially you're warming up past your working set weights. You're doing something that's heavier, so when you drop down, it feels easier. Common sense, I know, but something that you can use within all your main lifts and training as it works really, really well. So I'm gonna work up to, I'm just gonna probably honestly just do this for 3. It's not that heavy, we'll see how it feels. And then I'll drop back down and I'll do some sets of 6. And I'll superset with the inverted row, which I'll show you in a sec. This is what I love about the inverted row and these bodyweight exercises in particular. So you can use them like this, like I am now, or what they make is a really good exercise superset. I have it often in my programs in the Sweet Science Body Underground. It's like a bodyweight superset finisher, I guess. I picked it up from Carl Jennings, who was strength and conditioning coach for the Warriors in the NRL, the Crusaders, a bunch of NRL teams and Super Rugby teams. So if you're from that side of the world, you know who I'm talking about. But he basically would use a lot of these at the end of training sessions to build mass. Love them because you can accumulate a lot of volume. It's easy on the joints. And even with a lot of volume, you don't get because you don't have the absolute load, you don't have crazy soreness and fatigue. So you can, but basically what you do is you set rep goals. So you might do inverted row and push up. And you're okay, I just want to get 50 reps of each. Or maybe you do more push-ups. Push-ups are typically easier, so like 60 or 70 push-ups. And you're just gonna try and complete that in the least number of sets possible. Now, don't go to failure on the first set or second set. Stop a few short so you don't just gas yourself. But the goal is to be able to get all those reps, the least number of sets possible. You can keep the same reps each week and try beat your number of sets. You can add reps to add more volume. Lots of different ways to use it, but you can use inverted rows, pull-ups, dips, push-ups. You can do it with lower body. I typically avoid the lower body stuff, as I mentioned earlier on the hypertrophy work. But yeah, give that a try at the end of your sessions if you're trying to build some mass. But you don't want to sit there and be doing 5 sets of 10 bench press and then be so sore you can't grapple. So give that a try. One more note on the inverted row. To make it easier or harder, elevate your feet like I am so you're more horizontal to the floor or parallel to the floor. Have your feet on the floor. To make it easier, you can use rings. Lots of different variations you can use. Now, I'm gonna finish the session there. Typically I'll try finish with something at the end, which I mentioned earlier, but I've got to put my daughter to bed or to nap soon, which is the reality of training when you have a life. It's very easy to be on social media and see people that are training twice a day, this, that, whatever they're doing, hardcore juiced out of their tits, and then think you should be doing the same. It's not reality. They don't have kids, they don't have other obligations, they're full-time influencers, I guess. And if you're a top grappler, you get paid. Everyone else, they don't. So you're gonna have time constraints too. So importantly, you get your main stuff done. So in the session, it was those high pulls, it was the squats, and it was the superset. That's the main stuff. Everything else is bonus. So if I was gonna finish with arms or abs or grip or neck, whatever, If I don't have time today, I don't do it today. Sometimes it's good to do some of the stuff in the warm-up, so regardless, you get it done, which is another option you can also do. So just be aware that you're not going to be able to always do everything. And lower volume sessions, where you're just pushing 1 or 2 lifts hard, it's going to give you far more benefit than trying to run through a 6 exercise chest day for your jiu-jitsu. So if you enjoy these, let me know. Check out the strength conditioning blueprint down below. If you want more of these, I'll do plenty more. I've been visiting some other gyms and stuff, so you can have a more variety of exercises that I can show you. A lot of the Sweet Science Funding Underground programs follow these similar templates as well. So if you want that done for you, you don't have to think. Check that out too. So I'll see you in the next video.